There we are. Happy time
There we
zone,
go.
everyone. Happy something. My machine is so hot today that actually the intro song got pitched up and down. So it was like kind of a remix. It was
Nice.
very interesting to hear. But
That's because we're not used to hot weather here in the Netherlands. That's why that's happening.
Exactly. And there you go. There's the other Dutch guy on the show today.
Yeah, I'm outnumbered. Why? What's up? What's going on?
It's the Dutch.
That's not fair. That's not fair.
I know. You should get someone from Poland, Daniel.
No. We would just start drinking, and we would lose our PG-13 rating, and you cannot do it now.
So what's different than with having the Dutch on the call?
Exactly. that sounds exactly like how Peter and I should do a stream, or how we do a stream. It's like wait
for it.
Yeah.
Look here, I'm prepared in my office.
I don't have any alcohol here at my office. That's interesting.
That's unusual for you.
I know, but I just got a new delivery of one of those places that sell you cheap alcohol today. So after this show, I'm going to sit outside and drink something. But it's going to be afterwards, so no surprise there. So we got Peter on the show today. Woo, Peter!
Hey, Peter!
Peter, the other Dutch guy. And today, we're going to talk about the most exciting topic. And I think it's so exciting because it's the most used feature in SUED. Is that still true, actually? Is it the most used feature?
I think AD Connect is still...
there you have...
It's the most used feature.
You think
so? Apart from AD Connect.
No. I want to argue that because we do have a lot of like smaller tenants with only cloud users. So... And maybe they are using conditional access.
I don't know. I would let me look at the numbers.
Yeah,
you introduce the topic. I will look at the numbers in the meantime. Give me a second.
Sounds great. So yeah, conditional access, and Peter is the expert. He's gonna lead the whole show for the upcoming hour.
Oh really? That was not what we discussed beforehand. I'm only here to watch.
You're here to watch. Oh, that's going to be very boring, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
No, maybe like I think it would be good if we're going to talk about conditional access. Let me share my screen if that's working today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that works. Only when I move my mouse, it's going to be like
it's like 6 frames per second, so we can play chess.
Yeah.
Let's go to chess.com and let's do a chess learning stream.
Yeah, let's switch. Oh, that would be good because I don't know how to play chess, to be honest.
What?
No, I don't. Really, I don't. Okay, there's someone sitting next to me. Let's call her my wife. And she looks at me like, "You don't know how to play chess?" No, I don't.
There is an app. It's called Good Chess.
Yeah. I should install that.
Get it, because there is also Good Sudoku. That teaches you how to do Sudoku, and Good Chess teaches you how to do chess, how to win at chess from time to time.
Okay. And actually, my wife is telling me now she ordered a chess set, so we can play together and we can learn. The only challenge is we need to put it together first. I found it because it's Lego.
Yeah,
but that's fun. It's like a what married people do, right? Is putting together a chess set from Lego. I think.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's go back to the topic. So conditional access.
I have numbers.
Okay.
Connect Health is by far the most used premium feature.
Really?
It has almost 100 million above conditional access.
But
it's because it's built in AD Connect.
Exactly. So, but then it's interesting. Oh yeah, that feature has more users that are using it next to AD Connect, right?
Yep.
Because you don't need to enable that feature. You can run AD Connect without it, although don't do it, but it's very valuable. But still, interesting. Okay, so this is not...
3 out of 4 users in AAD are synced through Azure AD Connect.
3 out of 4?
4.
Yep. Oh, that's a pretty high number. Cool. And we need to protect those users, right?
Yep.
So that's what we're talking about today, conditional access. And where I wanted to start is so first of all, this is part of a whole series. You can see here, this is part 2. And if you're wondering what that SC300 thing is, that's the certification you can get. You can be a certified expert on Azure AD. I think all 3 of us got it, right? Yep. Peter?
Yeah, I think so. I've done a bunch of those, but I don't really keep track anymore.
But yeah, if you want to study for that, this is a great place to start. There's also a part 1. Does anyone know what part 1 is? I don't. We can check.
Yeah, it's just topic.
Let's check.
Yeah, I think application SSO is the first one.
Oh yeah,
it's either application SSO or monitoring. It's one or the other.
Yeah. So this is a module. It will also give you 1500 XP
on MS Learn. Yep.
Yeah. What can you do with those XP? You were thinking
I'm thinking airlines.
Yeah, if you do this module, you will become platinum on a random airline. It's probably got to be a very small airline that nobody uses, but still you have status on that airline. Okay. So and this module, which is conveniently is 1 hour, will basically take you through all the things around conditional access. And it will also help you with some exercises to do. So I thought it would be fun that I just click through it, and then Peter is going to do the exercises. Peter, you still there?
Yeah, there was a little drop in connection.
No, it wasn't. For those of you that don't know, Dutch people are jerks.
No, we're very nice. No,
jerks to each other. Oh, let's put it this way.
That's true. That's true. We're always very nice to other people, except to each other.
No, that's just because Stefan is my work wife.
Talking about being married, maybe we should play chess sometime.
Yeah.
So we're in 10 minutes, and I think we mentioned the name of what we're talking about, and so I thought it would be fun just go through the module, and it actually starts with something that we've already showed on the show, if I remember correctly. I think Daniel, you showed the security defaults,
yes,
right?
Sir.
When we talked about MFA. So we can be very quick with that one. But then we can look into maybe just let's go through the portal and have a look at conditional access and what are the options, and then maybe some common scenarios. So Peter, what if I would ask you conditional access, a common scenario, what would be one that popped to mind?
So essentially what we're going to do with conditional access is basically provide security for your environment, for your applications, without bothering the end user too much. I think that's the most important piece of the whole conditional access.
Okay, so we probably don't want to create a policy that will block something or anything. We want to find that balance then.
Well, it's not necessarily that you don't want to block things. There can be valid use cases to block certain things, but I think it's more importantly that imagine that you are, as an end user, you're going to get MFA pop-ups every time you're going to sign in. You're not going to pay attention to MFA pop-ups anymore.
Yeah.
That's you're going to get MFA fatigue basically. So basically, what we're going to do with conditional access is making sure that we're going to keep it secure, but not over bothering the end user with pop-ups and prompts.
Okay, but how can we then keep it secure if we're not gonna over bother them with those prompts? Because those prompts keep you secure, right? Or can we?
Well, not necessarily. I see Daniel already laughing. I mean, Daniel has a good opinion on this.
I always have an opinion. Whether or not it's good, we can have a discussion.
I love to play like the person that doesn't know, and then put you on the spot to talk about it.
Oh, so you're playing? Okay, now it makes sense.
That's my excuse. It's my excuse. I'm here to learn as well, just as our viewers. I'm trying to learn here from others on the show. Yeah, so let's go into conditional access. So first of all, where you can find it is in the SUED portal, and then if you scroll down and look at this, you go to security. Oh wait, I cannot go to security. What's happening here? Why can't I go to security?
You didn't pim yourself.
I know.
You jerk.
You don't like me anymore, Daniel.
I like you a lot, but I don't trust you.
No, that's
that's a very wise decision.
Yeah, I'm a very untrusty. How do you say it? Type of person.
Trustworthy, non-trustworthy.
Non-trustworthy. Yeah, I knew trustworthy. I was looking for like the opposite of it. Okay, so
maybe we should work on a new feature, conditional access for Stefan.
It's called authentication context.
Yeah. We should talk about that too. Okay, so I'm gonna do the thing you normally probably don't want to do, like be global administrator. You want to be in a different, like more restricted role to do conditional access stuff. So Daniel, do you know at the top of your head which
security administrator and conditional access administrator?
Okay, so basically I should have got those, and then I'm only limited to the thing I want to do. And if there anything happens, nobody can use that account to do other stuff. Okay, so
I'm way nicer than JP, because when I was pimming myself in JP's tenant, his global admin is only for an hour.
Oh.
I gave you ability to elevate yourself for 8 hours. So
it was 8 hours. I actually thought it was like permanent.
No, it's 8 hours. After 8 hours, we will nuke your. You're permanently eligible to elevate yourself.
Oh, yeah, that was
if you were a contractor and I said your contract for maintaining my stuff expires in 6 months, your eligibility will expire in 6 months.
Yeah. Okay.
You can make it shorter until end of the show and stuff like that, right?
Let's see. Let's just. There we go. And then activate. Ooh, I need to put in a reason.
Yeah, I will tell you. I will tell you a little trick. That's the red asterisk that will tell you that it's mandatory.
Oh, really? That's what it actually has a hint telling you that's a required field. wait, especially for you.
You already learned something today.
I learned multiple things, to be honest. So this is not the first thing. Okay, I'm gonna activate the role now. So I'm going to be a global administrator. So maybe
I'm on Stefan's side. That star is not pronounced at all, especially if you're colorblind like I am. So for me, between black and red, there is not that much difference.
We should put this through like accessibility thing.
It turns out people don't care about colors. They try it and they see the message and they are fine.
Yeah, it is, however, a star, right? So it's a different character, which you should see, only not popping out that. I always find it very interesting when you're colorblind, as I'm not on that side, like how you would perceive.
As far as you know, you're not. You can ask your wife if you are. So
yeah, that's a good one. Okay. So now I'm a global administrator.
Sometimes based on your choice of wardrobe, I would assume that you would be a bit colorblind, but
you mean my nice nail polish?
This one, you are just being a good dad. That it has nothing to do with color blindness.
You would think so, but it's not my daughter who put a nail polish on there.
Okay.
Okay, now we're moving into TMI.
Yeah, I know. I will stop. I'm very good at oversharing. So, yeah. Okay, we can go to security now. And then conditional access. That's where it is. And this is where we configure like conditional access, right? So you said something about authentication context over here. I thought it would be interesting to cover that because it's kind of new.
We need to wait until the PIM thing rolls out, so we can use it in PIM. We probably want to cover custom controls as well, and we need to have a code sample deployed or MCAS deployed to show how really it works. It's too much effort. I don't feel like it.
You what? Sorry?
Too much effort. I don't feel like it.
But what does it do?
On-demand invoke conditional access policies from the app.
So I can be in an app. I need to execute something which then invokes a conditional access rule. So
a very specific set of conditional access policies. Yeah.
Okay. So that means that I can set a few conditions on only a part of the app and not the whole app. That is basically what authentication context does, right? Yep. Okay, cool. Okay. So we got that out of the way. That was easy. Let's go back to the policies. And then, so we can create a new policy. We can do a what if, refresh. This is an important button. Got feedback. If you please send your feedback. We love feedback. Do. Yes, really. This is not like a black hole.
We actually read it.
Exactly. Yeah. This is one really important thing I want to point out. There's a whole team behind this, collecting this information and feeding it directly into the development system. So it's
especially with user voice going away, this will be your main way of showing your disapproval.
Yeah, or approval. It could also be something nice, right? I actually never clicked the button, but you can say if you're satisfied or not, and then give some comments there. Cool. Okay, and then we have the what if. Let's go back to that one later when we've created a policy, because it's basically like a testing thing for policies. So we can create a new policy, and we can give it a name. Peter, can you decide on a name? What do we want to do? What would be your first policy to create?
Your first policy to create?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Daniel, do you have a...
We already have one. We created one for MFA. I'm fine with that. I don't want anything else.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically we're done. No other policies.
Nope.
No, only the MFA one. This is gonna be a short show. But maybe we can explain a bit about what the things will do, right?
Basically, how do you design them? Yeah.
Yeah, and any recommended practices there. So if I would look into like conditional access policy, I can create tens of conditional access policies, right? But I don't think that that would be very easy to administer. So from your side, if I would be a customer, I will come to you and I say, okay, so I need to do something with conditional access. I want to protect my apps. I want to protect my users. What would be a recommended practice, like starting to think about how to design those things?
I would give you a link to read through first.
Which link was that?
M365 Golden Config, the ak.ms one.
Okay, so let's open that then. ak.ms/m365.
Golden Config.
Yeah, I'm making a typo here. Golden
Config.
More typos. There we go. Okay. So this would be the place to start then.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this goes beyond only conditional access, right?
This one is conditional access, how you would want to configure it if you own everything Microsoft.
Okay. So if you are fully licensed, then this is the place to go to start to protect your environment.
Yeah. On the left-hand side, you have the common identity and device access policies. Basically, cool. It has step-by-step of the ones that you want to have.
Okay, so this looks like a nice diagram.
Oh, I love this one. But this one requires you to be to have device management. Because at the end of the day, device management is a DLP mechanism, right? Data loss prevention mechanism. So your data doesn't get onto unsecure endpoint or into unsecure apps.
But this would, yeah, go ahead.
You probably also want to take a look at the conditional access deployment plan that we have written.
Yep.
Yeah, let's look at that after this one. So this looks very easy. If I'm looking for a baseline policy and I got everything that needed, I can just say, okay, so I need to have a policy that would require multi-factor authentication when risk is medium or high. I think we created that one, right? Already in the tenant. And then on phones, require approved apps. What does that mean? Like, what are approved apps?
These are apps that can be controlled by Intune. Basically, instead of managing the entire device with Intune, you can manage only the app as a container. So you can say you are not allowed to copy paste out of my app.
Okay. So that's an interesting one for phones. And then the block clients that do not support modern authentication, right? So that means like clients that are using a way of authenticating that doesn't allow you to do any like step-up authentication, that have that extra protection. I think this should be one that, like what it says, should be a baseline, should be one that should be there as a default. Maybe we can have a look into.
We are going to set it as a default, if I remember correctly, right? Aren't we changing that now?
Are we? I thought it is part of the it's the heat.
The client conditions, yes.
Yeah. No, I meant the security defaults.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's part of security defaults, but I think also that we're going to make a change that we're going to block legacy auth by default instead of having it opened up by default.
So the change has been pushed in October last year, that if you have a policy, newly created policy that targets some set of conditions, it automatically also covers legacy authentication clients.
Okay.
So if you have policy for all clients require MFA, it will cover legacy auth clients, and because legacy auth client doesn't know how to satisfy MFA, it will get rejected.
Okay, so it will block automatically then.
Yeah. If you cannot satisfy the control, you have to be blocked. Yes, sir.
Okay, so so block legacy auth. So let's go through it. So we can say all users. Do we want to do all users here, or exclude like a user as the warning is suggesting?
I would do all, and if you have scripts that are running in your automation accounts, exclude those users.
Okay.
Or so exclude locations that they are allowed to be run at. Okay.
So that we can define later on. And then we can go to apps. And then so we can say the cloud apps, user action, and there's the authentication context, which is a new one. But now we're talking about cloud apps. And then we can just do all cloud apps, right? We want to totally get rid of the whole legacy authentication.
Yes, sir.
And pay attention to the warning.
I know. The last time we were creating a policy, we had the same warning. And I do recall Daniel also ignoring it. And just like, oh, that's fine. But this is a good one. I like always pay attention that you don't lock yourself out, that you have some kind of break glass account.
Yeah, make sure you have a break glass account. Don't add your Azure Connect account in there. It will stop working otherwise.
Yes, you need to exclude a specific role.
Okay, so a role in this case.
Yeah, it will be not in the include, in the exclude.
No, I know. It was me and my big finger clicking on the wrong thing.
Yeah,
exclude. Directory role,
Directory roles, yep.
And which one do we want
to exclude? Directory synchronization.
Okay. Directory synchronization
account, yes.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so
you need to fix your include.
Yeah, give me a sec. All users, and not the sync account. Cool. And then we have all cloud apps. So theoretically, Yep.
Nobody ever locks herself out of the portal, right? That never happens.
Ever.
No. I never did that. Never.
No, me neither.
Peter neither. No.
No,
Daniel,
no.
did you did that once? Did you
Nope.
lock yourself out? No.
Nope. The thing is, I always start my tenants with my @microsoft.com account as a guest.
Mhm.
So my B2B user is always somewhere in there. So it's a kind of like a break glass. And I know because it's protected by Microsoft, I always exclude it from everything because we use PIN and everything. So
Yeah. That was what saved me as well, like a guest account that I made an admin when I set up a rule which would say block on, I think, high risk. And then I decided to travel through multiple countries. And then at some point, the high risk kicked in and just denied access for everyone, except that guest or that external, that Microsoft account that I had there. Okay. So let's look at the conditions, right? Because I think this is the important piece where we're going to configure like the legacy auth type of piece. So where is legacy auth?
In client apps.
So
because
client apps?
legacy authentication can be performed only by specific types of clients.
Okay.
And you see.
So legacy authentication clients.
Yes, sir.
So I do configure yes, and then remove these ones. And then we only have the legacy authentication clients left. Okay, done. And then we want to go to the controls.
The good thing is for Exchange Online that we're going to deprecate legacy auth, so that will help.
Look at the update.
Yeah,
for deprecation.
It's going to take a while.
Yeah.
It's still in the plans.
So that means
on July 1st, Office 365 MDM will start pushing a good ActiveSync profiles with modern auth. For the longest time, the mini MDM built into Office 365 was using legacy auth for ActiveSync. On July 1st, it will automatically flip for everyone. Users will see an onslaught of prompts if you use Office 365 MDM.
That's interesting. Does that still exist, Office 365 MDM?
Yeah. Oh, dude, you would be surprised. It's about 100 million users every day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the slimmed down version of Intune, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, what we're going to do is block access for legacy traffic. So let's say block access.
Technically, you can use any control because none of those controls will be able to be satisfied. Technically, you can. So imagine that you applied it to ActiveSync.
Yep.
And ActiveSync clients, some of them can do modern auth controls, right?
Yep.
Like the iOS one or the newest Gmail one. Even though they are using ActiveSync, they can pop out a browser window and they can use auth for connecting to your mailbox. So you can say that you require MFA and require device marked as compliant. Require both. So if your users are adamant about using their own client instead of Outlook to connect to their mailboxes, they are allowed to do so after they do MFA and after they enroll their device into MDM.
Oh, okay. So then you're basically forcing ActiveSync to do like the modern piece, and if you don't do that, then it's. So wouldn't that be a better option than just say block? Just say like require.
My preference is to use require some modern controls.
Okay.
Require both, right?
Yeah, so we want all of them. So even if you're on a managed device, we want to make sure that you do MFA.
Yep.
Okay. And then make sure my device is always compliant.
Yep.
Okay, and then select.
Yeah.
Wow, look. Even more warnings pop up now. So if you want to, don't lock yourself out. Exclude the user. So it will now, if I don't read this and just press create, it will exclude my user, right?
Yes, sir.
From this policy.
Yeah.
But also, it's still in report only mode.
Yeah, that's default now.
Yeah, and this is fun. This switch, we had some feedback on that. Like, does this mean putting report only mode on or off, or like it's a three-way
switch?
Yeah.
So this means like policy on, policy off, and report only. And I think it's a good practice to start with report only, right? When you create a new policy.
Yep. You need to know that report only is not without any impact. There might be impact on report only mode specifically for the thing that you configured right now. For require compliant, that you might see certificate prompts or choose device certificate prompts on mobile, so specifically on Android and iOS and OS 10 as well. Yeah.
So you need to be aware, like this could have an end user impact.
Yeah,
when
your users
even
might
in
see
report
prompts,
only,
even though it's a report only. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that should be in the deployment plan, I guess. Right?
Yes, it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, so just follow the plan. Read the documentation.
And did you exclude yourself or not?
I did.
Okay.
I'm against taking risks, so I just took the suggestion. What would you have done? You've just
because it's well scoped and very limited. I wouldn't have excluded myself. No.
So you
choose the option. Hey, I know what I'm doing. Leave me alone.
But I don't know what I'm doing. I'm here to learn from you guys on how to do this.
Makes sense.
Yeah, right.
Like we still have our training wheels on, Daniel not.
Yeah, Daniel's like, oh wow, what happened here?
You already broke it.
No, look, I told you my machine is slow today. It's out of memory. I got 8 gig of memory, and it's out of it. Okay, that's fun. Always fun with live demo stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm already seeing the internet notification. Stefan has broken the portal.
Yeah, nobody can use the portal anymore. Okay, so what I want to do right now is use that what if tool to check on this policy. Do you think that makes sense? Okay.
And then I will later show you how to do legacy auth in command line. I will find that command.
Awesome. So what if? So let's say a user. So let's say which user is going to execute this. Carlo Wa, which is a external user. I wanted to do an internal user and not myself because I excluded myself. I'm just going to do the hybrid admin. Select that one. So select. And then any cloud app. And then I think we need to look at 2 client apps, right? So we're coming from so we get 2 options here. If you look at ActiveSync, right? Supported platforms and unsupported platforms. What type of difference does that make?
Unsupported is basically anything that doesn't do modern auth.
Okay, so we need to
do super old ones, yes.
Yeah, so we do an unsupported, and then that's basically it, right? So this means like this user to any cloud app is using a unsupported ActiveSync client. Let's see what if. What if? And now we can see which policies that will apply, which we have that block legacy auth over here. It's in report only state, but it says like, okay, require multi-factor authentication and require compliant device. And then it seems like that the other policies are already blocking the legacy auth in this case, right? Because we have that MFA all policy, which we configured.
Yep.
Which basically means like this client cannot do MFA, so it's going to be blocked. And then the user risk mitigation policy as well. And then if we're going to switch this to a supported platform and do the what if, it's still going to apply to it because we selected ActiveSync. But then you should be able to pass, right, through the multi-factor authentication. Yep. Anyway, in telling that in the what if, I don't think so, right? Now we should basically like find a client.
You should be able also now to get more details if you click on the.
Yeah. So if I'm going to click on this one, I think it's just going to take me to the policy itself. Yeah.
Oh no, that was now we've added the details in the audit log, not in the.
Yeah, so this is the point right now that you would say like grab this real user and try a real app and then look into the report only logging to see what's happening when this user signs in and what's the expected outcome, right? Cool. So Daniel, are you ready to show like
I'm testing because basically you need to use curl, right?
Yeah.
and it will be curl, and you open your quotes, and it's IMAP S:// your username, which will be Stephen, and @ is encoded as $ as %40, right? Because it's HTTP encoded. At 425 show.pfe.ninja.
Okay.
Your password.
Oh, really?
And then outlook.office365.com. You basically encode your username and password in a URL string, and you curl it because you want to do IMAP.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how legacy authentication works.
Wow. So you just put your username and password in the URL?
Yeah. That's how FTP works. That's how IMAP works. That's how legacy authentication works.
Yeah. I almost forgot how it works. I actually have an account that still uses IMAP, which is not on Office 365.
So there is
IMAP. Me too.
So there is OAuth IMAP. You can use modern authentication IMAP in Office 365 as well.
Ah, okay.
Which is really fun. Thunderbird has it. Most clients are starting to get it since Exchange last year said they wanted to disable that stuff.
And if you're in Outlook, you're not going to use IMAP, right? You're just going to use...
Nope. You will be using Exchange Web Services.
Exactly. Cool. So, do you want to show it, the curl comment, or
I'm checking right now.
Okay. Otherwise, we can just look into more policies. Okay. So we're now building So we just built the block legacy auth policy here. We use the what if tool. So the what if tool is a pretty neat tool that after you create a policy, you can see if it applied to a user or not. So basically, if you don't want to go into the report only one, you can also put it to off and then check the what if. And for example, you can simulate that you're from a specific country or specific IP address, or even you can simulate, like say I'm having a specific risk, and see which policy will apply to what you're building.
Keep in mind, if you want to run the report only, that you need to have a log analytics attached to it, because otherwise it will end up nowhere.
Really? That's a good one. So you need log analytics for report only mode.
Yeah.
Not querying in the portal. It's really tough. It's technically there because you can look into any sign-in attempt. And in the conditional access tab, you will see what was applied or not, right, in the sign-in logs. And in the report, only one will be technically applied as well. But filtering, it's tougher without log analytics.
And you can theoretically grab the logs from the graph
PowerShell,
yeah, and then execute your own logic on top of it.
Okay, yeah, but if you want to do the conditional access insights and reporting, that will just not work without the log analytics.
Okay, so you are going to see like a sign-in log over here, which will tell you like report only mode and some details, but it's very hard to figure out.
Yeah,
and then the one you were mentioning, that's if you go to security over here, back to conditional access, and then insights and reporting. This one, right?
Yeah. That's where you need your log analytics.
Yeah. That sounds like something fun to do for one of the upcoming episodes, to enable log analytics.
You actually get some pretty cool graphs and stuff when you enable this.
From those workbooks.
Yeah. Yep. And we are creating more and more workbooks here as well, for not only for conditional access, but also from other parts in S3.
Oh. So it has a bigger additional benefit of doing that. Cool.
Yeah, definitely. And
so if you go into sign-in logs, you will see that your latest and greatest sign-in attempt on your own regular user, there will be a report-only tab, and you will see that your policy didn't apply to your session getting to the portal because it wasn't legacy auth.
Okay.
So you see, Stephen, this one, and if you click it in the report-only tab, you will see that it wasn't applied.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so this is what the result would look like.
Yeah.
And then even though like the report only mode can say applied, but that means like normally it would be applied, although it can have the end user impact where it would ask for on a mobile device, for example, could ask for a certificate, right?
Yeah, if you're looking for compliant devices, yeah.
Yeah. So Jarks Hunter has a question in the chat. So Daniel, remember the discussion about the native iOS mail app failing when Exchange ActiveSync is blocked? Because even with modern auth, it still comes in as Exchange ActiveSync Gmail with modern auth comes in as client app, mobile apps, and desktop apps. So everything's fine. Was your assumption blocking Exchange ActiveSync legacy with a grant that would fix iOS?
Yes, because the way we enforce conditional access for device controls on ActiveSync, it's twofold. One, we do it on the sign-in attempt, right? So you basically, if it's a modern auth client, you will see a browser. If you get let in, and then it turns out you need to have more controls. ActiveSync itself can put you into something that is called quarantine until you resolve. Basically, you will see only one email message. So if we decided that for ActiveSync, we are allowing only support, only Outlook, you will be able to connect with ActiveSync to your mailbox, but you will see only one email message saying, hey, click here to install Outlook, or click here to enroll into Intune.
I remember doing that demos years ago. Those demos years ago.
Yep. It's been like that since forever. Yeah.
Wow, it's still the same. Yeah, it was always interesting to show, right? Going through the whole process, putting in a rule which would require you to have that specific app, and then showing that you can go into the app, but you only see one email which would ask you to do that. Okay, cool.
It was even more funny when a customer was doing that and then forgot about the rule.
Really? So everyone only had one email and he didn't know why. Yeah, that sounds interesting. Did that end up to be a support case, or?
Yeah. It went up to support.
Wow. They should have watched the 4 to 5 show and learned about that.
Yeah, but that was like years ago, so that was not yet there.
Yeah. So Jarks Hunter is suggesting to fix our public
that's
docs.
Alex.
Yeah, Alex. Yeah. He asked us, shall I send a pull request and change my policy templates?
The thing is, it's one of those consultant, it depends. Right? Because the recommendation straight up is do not use ActiveSync, period. ActiveSync is awful. You should block it. You should always block it. Doesn't matter if it shows up as modern auth clients, because if the modern auth client shows up as in the sign log shows up as a modern auth client, and you have a policy that applies to ActiveSync clients, because there is a difference between other clients versus ActiveSync. Other clients is evaluated during sign-in. ActiveSync specific policies get replicated into Exchange Online.
So if you do
an Exchange is taking care of enforcement of that policy.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's up to you whether or not you want to completely whack your Exchange ActiveSync clients.
Okay. That's good to know.
So it's one of those, it depends. I personally don't mind. As long as my device is compliant, just let people live and let live. But some people don't like the copy paste and stuff like that. But I like having a contact sync on iOS.
Isn't this again like finding that balance between end user productivity and security, and just thinking about like what are the risks of what is the risk, and are I okay with those risks? I think that in general that's the case, right? If you look into conditional access, you can make it very strict. So
it's the case in general. Like you're gonna accept the risk or not. That's not only for conditional access, but that's for your whole infrastructure in total.
No, that's true. The reason I was saying conditional access wasn't because we were talking about conditional access, but no, I agree. That's definitely the case.
Yeah.
So looking at the common identity and identity device access policies, so we see the green dot, which basically means you need an additional license. So this one is just included in the P1 license, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and then if we go further, you see the high risk users must change password, and this policy forces users to change their password when signing in if high risk activity is detected in their account. So this is using identity protection with conditional access combined. And you can configure this in multiple places, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, there are some tenant-wide policies, but you can also use some in your directly in your conditional access.
We
policy.
have those in here. We have the user risk policies.
Yeah, so they are already here, like the user risk, high mitigation. But what I wanted to show is if you go to, it's also on the security, right?
Yeah.
Like clicking one.
And Mr. Wildfire is basically in the chat. He's doxing himself as an Exchange MCM, saying that ActiveSync allows very nice integrations versus Outlook native client. We know we need to get parity because Exchange Web Services and eventually Microsoft Graph, because EWS eventually will go away in favor of MS Graph for email access.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, until there is a feature parity on what can be pushed, the thing is, ActiveSync is so bloated with what you can push inside of the configuration profile. You connecting your mailbox basically makes your device MDM enrolled. We started talking about Office 365 MDM. It does it through ActiveSync channel.
Yeah. Okay, so the risk policy. So we created the policies in conditional access. But if we go to identity protection, you basically have the same type of policy here, right? User risk, signing risk, but it's less flexible. I think it's like you can say
this one is going away. Straight up, this one is going away.
Yeah, because this is very confusing, right? Because we configured it, but if we go here, it seems like we haven't configured it. So this is cool. Okay, so forget about this one. Always use conditional access. That's basically what we're saying here. Yeah, cool. And then maybe good to just have a quick look at the policies that we've created previously. So the high risk mitigation policy here, which also comes from the common practices if you do conditional access. So basically saying all users, all cloud apps, we have one condition selected, which is that user risk, and set it to high. And then, there was one click too many. And then if we look at the grant control, there's one control selected. And it would say require a password change, right? And this is basically the same as the previous policy. We show only you have you're more flexible.
And this one is very specific kind of password change. We call it if you hover over the information icon for the require password change. There is info. That more info, it's called secure password change. It will require your old password and MFA to be satisfied.
Okay, so this is when a user is detected.
Yeah, it's basically SSPR on steroids. Yep.
Nice, but they need to be registered for self-service password reset before they can use this, right?
If you're enrolled into MFA, you're registered for SSPR.
Yeah, that's
if you allow MFA as your password reset method.
So it requires MFA, so you need to be enrolled in MFA. So that all makes sense. Does this require Azure AD P2? Chicken Man asked. So the condition that we selected here, so the user risk being high, so this user risk piece is part of P2. Yeah, so that's that additional license.
Yeah, that one requires license. Basically, for those of you that are familiar with stuff like Alexa, if this then that, and home automation, conditional access is a if this then that engine. Assignments are if this, access controls are then that. So if you meet all of those in the assignment section, then we enforce the control in the bottom. So Stefan, right now you should see my legacy auth attempt in your sign-in logs.
Cool. Okay, let's check that. And then I wanted to talk about the policy evaluation as well. I think that's an important thing to understand when you look at this. So sign-ins.
Yeah. For my hybrid admin account.
Okay. There.
The first one.
I see.
Yep.
Okay. And then we go to report only. And it says failure on the report
I wouldn't
only.
be able to satisfy that control.
Yeah. Okay. So that's why it said failure. Okay. So in this case, we know that if we enable this rule, this authentication is not gonna work.
So look at the basic info. There are some pretty interesting things in legacy auth.
Okay.
Look at the user agent string.
That's an interesting one.
It's curl. You can fake it.
So yeah, but that's the whole thing with user agent strings in general. They're like everyone can just make up their own and put something in. So what does it mean? I can guess ROPC, but what's the BAV?
This is something that curl gave you. You can use a switch in curl to put anything in there.
Okay, so it's not something you made up.
No, it's there by default. I can put I can do cross-site scripting. I've seen people doing SQL code in user agents, trying to basically dump your syslog.
Oh,
drop database logs.
So that's how such an attack is like
cross-site scripting.
Yeah, cross-site
XSS.
Yeah, you just said it. Yeah, okay. Interesting.
I've done it with Kerberos tickets as well for silver tickets.
But just putting in a specific query.
Fun. Specific client name in the Kerberos ticket. Then it goes into syslog parses it and drops the database.
Awesome. That's an interesting thing to do. Should we demo it on the show?
No.
Would that be smart?
No, it doesn't work anymore. Syslog doesn't do. It was specifically for Syslog and Nagios.
Okay. And they fixed it. So we can show it. It's fixed. It's I saw I was about to say, like, everyone is of course running the latest and greatest version and they're already patched, but there was like a thread on Twitter where someone just like search the internet for systems that are connected directly to the internet, which are kind of legacy. So there were like Windows Server 2003 R2 with RDP full open, unpatched, those type of things. Yeah, there are a lot of those things still.
Yeah. It's very famous that across Eastern Europe, ADSL lines, asymmetric DSL, were very popular. So if you had a Windows XP, and it had a public IP address, it would survive up to 7 minutes.
Yeah,
After
I
7
remember
minutes,
that.
It was dead. It was infected. Yeah.
I remember that with a long time ago. Also installing XP and then already have it connected to the internet through a cable modem or something was back then. Yeah. And then it was like hacked almost instantly. What you said, like within 7 minutes, you can throw it away and you can start over again. So you install XP without a network connection, and then you need to patch it and then pull in the network connection. Although don't install Windows XP anymore, but that's a different story. So I wanted to talk a little bit about like policy. How does this work with the evaluation of the policies? Let's say you have one policy would require MFA, the other policy would block you. So what would happen? Is it like the order? Can I do in a firewall? The last rule will block all, and then it will be evaluated in order, or
no? The most restrictive one wins.
Okay,
like a big, just a big fight, and the strongest one wins.
So basically means that in my example, what I gave, like the MFA and the block policy, if they both apply, you will be blocked.
Yeah,
because that's the most restricted. Yeah, cool. I think that's a good thing to know. I think most of the people know nowadays how it works in conditional access, but I do remember
you would be surprised.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Assumptions.
Right. And we actually have now like added some detailed information into the error page that also the end user is getting. So people should learn, but
yeah, people don't read.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. Because I do remember like people starting to use this, and then they started with a policy which will block everything, and then build other policies on top of it, and then expecting that it's like a firewall, executing things in those order, which is not. So I think that's a very good thing you need to know when you're looking into conditional access.
Yeah. So basically the way it works in two passes and phases. So when user types in their username and password, because conditional access right now is only after the pass happens only after the pass, after user has been authenticated, we evaluate what kind of policies user session is subject to. So what application they are trying to access, what is their username, groups they belong to, and stuff like that. And in the first pass, we basically challenge for all the cookies and existing tokens they already have.
Okay.
In this pass, we also happen to challenge for a device. If there is a policy that will have as a device subject.
Yeah.
So and then we compare what was found out during the challenge phase versus what user needs to satisfy. And if it turns out that user needs to satisfy something else, we will prompt them for it.
Yeah.
So that's why you can have, even though technically device is challenged after MFA, in the first pass, when we challenge for a device, when you have compliant device or MFA, compliant device is checked first in the reconnaissance phase. That's why you are not seeing an MFA prompt.
Because you already...
If it happens that after the checkout and reconnaissance phase, your control is blocked, we will just surface you a message, you have been blocked. Your administrator deemed you're not allowed to get here from there.
Interesting. And then also, I think one thing, if you think at conditional access policies, right? When what you said, the policy apply after sign-in, and one thing I think is good to understand is that it's basically being evaluated every time you will request a new access token. And I think
session token, yes.
Oh, session token, yeah. Because you do have apps that for example, for sign-in only require a ID token and not an access token. It's just so if I had a few customers that built their app, registered to Azure AD, and then only issued an ID token because that was the only thing they needed. They're not going to call like a backend API or anything like that. And then they wanted to create a conditional access policy, and basically couldn't find the app in the list. And we're like, how we want to block the sign-in of this app, and that's
it's called public client problem, because conditional access is performed for the authorization step. ID token is a proof of authentication, not authorization. So conditional access, is in a nutshell an authorization engine. So basically, if you're not getting authorized to access a resource, conditional access will not apply yet. And there is a workaround that is really nasty that you can do on that application registration.
Now I want to know that workaround.
I don't want to publicize it because we need to have something better. Honestly, we need to have conditional access for public clients eventually. Today, the only workaround is to have conditional access policy that applies to quote unquote all apps. And all apps policy applies to public clients as well.
There you go. So that would be the workaround, just all apps. Although
unfortunately,
you kind of miss the flexibility there. Okay, I just want to finish up the baseline, and then I think we can wrap it up for today. So we showed like this one we already had there. So the require multi-factor authentication when the risk is medium. Which is this one. So it's all users, all apps. There's one condition selected. Actually two. So medium and high. It's medium or above.
That's why it's medium plus.
Medium plus. Yeah. It says medium plus, right? Or medium or high. It actually says like it's not plus. The plus is in the title of the. Never mind.
Yeah.
And then there. Oh man, I'm not sure what's. I know what the problem is today. I'm drinking a non-caffeine. Look, because I actually have a problem. The bottle is empty.
Yeah.
My Coke. So, and then we do a grant control, which require MFA. So that's that policy that we have here. And then we showed this one, and then divine compliance policies, one for each platform, which is part of Intune, right? So this you would do in the Intune portal. You will configure this, and then conditional access hooks into that and reports on that. And then we have the Intune app protection policies. Where we would say for a mobile device, apply level 2 app protection policies, data protection, one for each platform. That sounds very fascinating.
So
what does it do?
Basically, when you design your conditional access policies, your end design should stay under 30 or 35.
Okay, that's also a good one. Yep.
Because if you have more than that, our CA policies in our tenant are a mess because they don't have a naming convention. We don't know what the hell do they do. So they are just plain bad. We need to rename them at the very least. 2, because the OS platform conditioning, as you saw, it's based on user agent strings.
Yep.
When you're designing that entire stack for sensitive app and with layered controls, you need to do it for every OS platform. You can think of building your conditional access policies like building a village. Every single policy stack is a building. Your ground floor, let's require MFA. Floor 1, which is more restrictive, because to get to floor 1, you need to get from the ground floor. You need to require MFA, and you need to have a compliant device or managed app. If it turns out you are excluding a user or a group or a role from that entire stack, it calls for building another building for them.
Okay.
And you stick to like maybe 6 to 7 buildings per operating system. And then have some exceptions. So you know that every single use case is covered, because conditional access is Azure AD specifically is allowed with password only by default. If I have a password, I can get in. Unless you tell me otherwise. We don't do block by default yet.
So you need to tell the system that to do so for protection. Cool. Okay, so let's wrap it up for today. I definitely think we can do another show on conditional access and go to the sensitive and highly regulated type of piece as well. So Peter, thank you for joining.
Yeah, no problem.
I highly appreciated your demos. Very interactive. It was.
Next time we'll do the demo of security defaults again.
The demo of security default. That's the best one.
Alex says he wants to join to design policies. He will show off his template scripts, because everything that we did in the portal, of course, has APIs. And Alex is kind enough that he has basically templates on GitHub. He presses a button in PowerShell script that basically duplicates the templates based on that documentation.
Awesome. That's cool.
You're very, very outspoken on that. Everything we do has APIs.
It has APIs, yeah.
Yeah, conditional access, yes, but
yeah.
You mean
only since recently.
I remember.
It's irrelevant.
It's there. That's the case.
Dude, we are in pre-sales. You should know. We under-promise, over-deliver.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool. So Alex, if you can reach out to me or Daniel, we can make sure to get you on one of the upcoming shows, because that sounds very cool to show. So.
Yeah, sounds fun doing the API stuff.
And let's do that and plan that for next one. So next week we're gonna have another guest, also a Dutch person. you don't want to put me in charge of arranging guests. I just invite every Dutch person I know.
There are like 7 of you, so
I know.
And one of them is Peter Pan.
Peter Pan?
Yeah, it's Netherlands, right?
Oh, Netherlands. Okay,
thing,
Daniel.
Right?
So let's.
Daniel is just jealous. He wants to move here.
Yeah, I know. It's because of the nice weather. Okay, the last thing we need to do is rate a channel. So I'm just gonna press the button here, and okay. So we have a few options here. We can do Coded Live. We can do a Rockstar 74. Code Rushed. Those are basically the three top ones I've there. Although Coded Live already has almost 300 people watching, so maybe you want to be nice to Rockstar 7. Yeah. Rockstar 74.
Yep.
Cool. I'm gonna click that, and then it's start rate, and then it's gonna countdown, and then I can press rate now. Okay, cool. Then we're gonna end it. Thanks everyone for watching. Next week, same time, we're gonna talk about B2B, so business to business, with another guest. So hopefully see you next week.
And then
thanks.
Don't forget to talk about all the cool analytics stuff that we're coming up with on B2B.
Analytics stuff on B2B.
Yeah, I will show you the secrets that we are building.
This is going to be a nice cliffhanger. So make sure to join next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, y'all. Stay safe.